Jen, do you have a story you want to share?
Well, I think shingles is pretty painful now that we've gotten off the severed limbs. But of course, it is famous for phantom limb pain as well, which is, amputation, but the memory of the other of the pain. But for shingles, I've had a lot of success with that, both on my own and with others. And in that case, I do use it both internally with the tincture and externally with the oil on the lesion areas, and it will regrow the painful, because I actually destroyed my, I put cayenne pepper tincture directly on. The pain was so bad, and I completely numbed and destroyed that nerve there. And I restored the nerve then with St. John's wort oil, as well as minimize the pain that often repeats with that. But it is antiviral in that way to also minimize relapses. And the depression that comes with viral infections is, I'm able to recognize in myself anyway, personally, the uniqueness of that kind of depression. And so then that's when I particularly will use the St. John's wort, both externally and internally. In baths, I have infused the St. John's wort in vinegar, that then I use the vinegar in bath, and it turns just as red as it does in the oil when infused in vinegars. And that would also be another way to use it internally for those who don't want the alcohol. For MS, Evelyn had an MS patient that she had me working with and making the oils for. And I think this is from Marie Treben's work, the herbalist. And she used, I think every week she would change the oil that was put on the spine. So from that information, we would make oil poultices, or using a pad that, is made with a kind of 2 layers, and then this becomes saturated with the oil on this side. There's plastic bed pad on the other side. The oil is then put on that, and then that's placed on the body so that it stays on the body for quite a few hours, so that it can be soaked into the nervous system through the spine. And that's how we treat MS, along with the internal use. And I've had only one case where she was diagnosed very early with MS. We started on the St. John's wort because there wasn't a use yet or a prescription for MS medication. And what she was going through in her life was also so stressful, with a divorce going on and her child being, her husband trying to take the child away and ruin her reputation as a mother. So that huge kind of stress is also a burden on the nervous system and the psychology and the psyche and the heart. So it would seem very appropriate to use the St. John's wort, even though the diagnosis was MS. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you can see how these things are appropriate. It's almost like a witchcraft by divorce. So she did recover gratefully.
She recovered from the
MS. The doctor reversed the diagnosis after a year, and she also resolved and got custody of her son. Divorcing a lawyer in a small community is tough for a woman because, she couldn't find a lawyer who would support her. So anyway, those are some of the woman that Evelyn was working with. She was already in a wheelchair but it gave relief. And she would have at least a week or so in which she could, her husband could help her in and out of the wheelchair. And then she would come monthly to Evelyn for all kinds of treatments, like the colonics that Evelyn did and so forth. But my part was to make these oil pads for her spine that she would wear then through the day. So since then, I use a lot of the oil pads as well, both on the breast and my spine.
Let's see. We should mention that Evelyn Snook was your teacher. So you are one of those few people who had a very advanced mentor to study with, one of those few people in our generation, kind of, because there just were not very many herbalists around. Yeah. And you have a book. Do you have that book off there at all? Yeah,
I do.
Jennifer wrote.
Thank you for asking.
And I
think we also have a
tremendous book, and I love it. And it gives Evelyn's ways were different. She used a lot of poulticing. And she had learned from an older MD in the era when MDs still did this kind of thing. So it's really a long tradition preserved, really special. And you can only get the book from Evelyn Jr. I mean, from Jennifer. So we will have a link for that. And I highly recommend that book. Yeah. So
thank you, Matthew. And I'm sorry that I self-publish it so that it isn't available easily except through me, but maybe we can change that at some point.
Thanks for joining us. If you are interested in learning more, you can visit our website at matthewwoodinstituteofherbalism.com. You can find all of our social links in the description below. Also, please subscribe to our channel so you can keep up with the latest videos.